Hey everybody, welcome back to Wave Hoarder, and today it's another episode of All My Modules, and this is the show where I'm just going to talk about everything that's in this giant case. Have some other modules not in this case that I'll talk about occasionally as well, but today it's the Steady State Fate Steady State Gate, and I love this thing. Obviously, I have two of them. And why do I have two of them? Well, it's mono. Sometimes you want to do stereo. Sometimes you just need two gates. So I have two. And let's really quick go over it. What is it? It's 8 HP. It is a low pass gate. It can also be a band pass gate, or just a low pass or band pass filter. It can be a wave folder. It can do saturation, or it has its chaos mode. Basically, you have the three sliders here. They're your decay. So if you run a gate into the excite input, then it will trigger this decay envelope, and that will that's where it gets the gate name, right? So based on your decay, you're gonna get a different sound based on that. So I'm gonna bring an output from the 0 Point Oscillator in here, and then I'll bring a gate from the nibbler. So yeah, you see that as you adjust that decay slider, you're going to get a different length to what's coming out. Now, as it's a filter, you have your frequency control. And then currently I'm in the saturation mode, so the timbre will control the saturation. But I can switch it to fold mode. Or the chaos mode. And I think here really in the chaos mode, the Q factor. And then, I'm in band pass mode right now, so as I said, you have the band pass, you have a one-pole low pass. And you also have a two-pole low pass mode. Bring in some voltage from the boundary layer here. And so your inputs, you have a decay. You have your frequency. You have your timbre. Here, I'm going to go to a different mode, like the wavefolding. Yeah, modulating the timbre at the audio rate and wavefolding mode. I kind of like the sound of that. Alright, anyway, so, and then your last one is your Q factor, which is the resonance. Yeah, and then the other thing you have here is you do have an envelope out, so if you wanted to get your decay envelope for some reason out of this thing, you can. Like if you could run that to an attenuator and use it to do some side chaining, or just run this to a VCA or something if you want to copy the decay envelope that this is making. Alright, so that's the basics of it. I'm going to come back and let's do a stereo patch with some drums and stuff. See you in a minute. Okay, right quick, one more patch I want to try. The book talks about a formant patch, and basically, it says to use the Ultra-Kick and run the output of the Ultra-Kick to the input, and to molt the signal triggering the Ultra-Kick, run that to the excite, and then it says to use an oscillator and to modulate the frequency on the steady state gate. And it says you can create formants with this. I'm using the 3-body as my oscillator in this case. And it says the resonance should be high on the Ultra-Kick, and the frequency basically set to mid, and that you should bring your frequency on your oscillator slightly above. So we'll see. I'm going to play with it at different settings here and see what we get. And then also it says the timbre, the setting, and your setting for your timbre and your setting for your decay and frequency will affect the formants, and that your Q factor should be, it says, below, directly below the sine wave. Now, I don't know, in my mind this is directly below, but I could also see reasoning that that would be directly below, right? So I'll try it both ways, see how that goes. So, fun times. Bringing it in now. think there we're starting to get it right. We got like some vocalizations. Final thoughts on the steady state gate. Obviously, I love this thing. Hey, I mean, I have two of them, so, I mean, spoiler alert, I love it, right? But, so, I'm not going to talk too much about the things that I like. I mean, hopefully, maybe you heard some sounds in the video that convinced you on some of that. Like, I mean, I would just say that a lot of times I personally, if I'm running an oscillator into it, I find there's like a sweet spot with it, if I'm not like having any modulation coming in. And I'm not going to use any audio in this example anyway, but I find that you get like a sweet spot where, your decay is at like about this level and your frequency is, at about this level, and, maybe you can, there's like, you nudge them into the exact right spots and you'll find like a sweet spot. But if you try to like move out of that or something at all, you'll lose it at times, so I won't say as a con, but it's something to consider, with it, that I think that sometimes you can find these like sweet spots with it that are very minute. And I mean, being sliders, sometimes I want to get in there and move the slider around and get performative with it, but then you will like immediately lose whatever you have brilliant thing that you have going on this thing, sometimes. So it's like that is one area where it's like the decay and the frequency, sometimes those controls like line up in such a perfect way that you get the sound out of it that is just completely amazing. And yeah, if you budget from there, manually, you're probably gonna lose it. So audio rate modulation, I think, works pretty good with that, as we've seen in that Formant example. Another, like, I don't know, just minor thing that I would complain about sometimes is like, depending on what I'm running into it and the settings and everything, if I turn up this Q factor, like, I mean, just like even like past noon, sometimes like it starts getting really whiny with the resonance. I wouldn't say it's negative, but I mean, you probably heard it in some of my examples where it's like, oops, I turned that a little too far. That got super whiny. Oh well. Other than that, I don't really have too many complaints with it. I think the wave folder sounds pretty good, and the timbre mode, depending on, or the what is it, saturation, depending on the sound you have coming in. I think the KS mode is probably like the one I've used the least, and as far as the different response modes, I tend to keep it in the the two-pole low-pass mode a lot, but sometimes I'll come out. It just depends on the sound and what you can get out of it. But I tend to find that two-pole low-pass, tends to hit the best sweet sounds, and like you can get like some really acidy sounds out of this thing, with running your oscillator and into that, and then using that excite, and like I said, getting that decay and frequency control just dialed in perfectly together. So yeah, that's why I love it. That's it for the steady state gate. See you next time.